The world of sports has been flipped upside down in recent years. The formerly iron border between the competitions of both sexes has become elastic these days. As a result, the elevated over the years women's record are easily broken these days by transgender individuals. This is even taken advantage of by bookmakers who deliberately seek out such competitors and bet money on them because they have higher chances of winning. The Olympic Committee has issued new criteria that regulates the possibility of participating in competitions after a sex change. Men can compete in women's categories, provided that for at least a year they will have a testosterone level below 280 nanograms per deciliter. It is a value below the lower bracket of normal in healthy men. Despite that, so far it hasn't been decided how much this regulation actually eliminates the men's advantage over women. After all, before changing the biological sex, men had a lot of time to take advantage of the anabolic potential of androgen hormones. Of course, that's assuming that we're talking about competitions with anti-doping tests. After all, women take steroids as well in order to improve their results. In some of them, they may cause symptoms of masculinization. Today, however, I will show a representative of the fair sex who is able to avoid this, and it won't actually involve a trip to Thailand. Vladislava Galagan has an incredibly attractive face and at the same time a muscular physique, which many men could envy. Of course, there is no chance that a woman could build so much muscle mass without support. The influencer herself isn't even hiding that. Despite her large dimensions, she was able to maintain great proportions. What especially stands out is her bulging, well-separated back, as well as developed chest. According to her, the circumference of her biceps is around 15 inches. There's no hiding that the upper parts have taken rather masculine characteristics. Her thighs and buttocks, on the other hand, although they have just as much muscle mass, have maintained feminine qualities. I hope that Vladislava won't get mad at me if I disclose her weight, which is 176 pounds at 5 feet 9 inches. Her FFMI index is slightly above 22. In order to calculate it, I assumed a body fat percentage of around 15%, despite her clearly defined abdominal muscles. And that's because ladies accumulate the most of it around their buttocks and thighs, and it is no different with Vladislava. Nevertheless, such muscle mass level would be a great result even for a man. The influencer was able to stand on the bodybuilding scene twice in the physique category. It should be noted that it is not even the top female division. The contestants in the women's bodybuilding class have much bigger dimensions. Vladislava's strength results for a woman are still on a high level. On her profiles, one can find a few heavier workouts. In pull-ups, she's able to perform over a dozen reps, although it should be noted that she hasn't finished them all with her chin above the bar. In the Romanian deadlift, she can easily perform series with the barbell weighing 220 pounds. In a squat, with the same weight, she was able to get up 6 times. What is interesting with the variation with the barbell in the front, which is much more difficult, she achieved an identical score. When it comes to the strength of upper parts, the influencer is able to perform a series of overhead pressing with 70-pound dumbbells. It is not the powerlifting level, but these are still great results. And let's not forget that her domain is building the physique. She started her journey with bodybuilding a whole decade ago. Before that, she did many different sports, such as basketball and athletics, focusing mainly on the 100-meter sprint. Intense, short runs are perfect for building muscle mass of lower parts. Just take a look at professional sprinters. It is a very intense effort, which means it perfectly translates to hypertrophy. Thanks to that, Vladislava already showed great physique predispositions back then. In 2012, she started her journey with the gym. Over the next 4 years, she trained naturally and developed quite a lot of muscle mass. On top of that, she maintained a low body fat level, whereas her abdominal muscles remained clearly visible. By analyzing her progress over the following years, one could notice that it was likely in 2016 when she decided to turn to the dark side of the force. That was when she started rapidly gaining in size. Her trainer helped her with everything, but eventually she fired him because, according to her, he prescribed too much steroids. After getting on the stage in 2018, she ceased her workouts and quit doping, which caused her to lose a lot of muscle mass. During the pandemic, she returned to exercising 6 times a week, and the results of her work can be seen today. Despite her physique and taking steroids, her face hasn't lost any of its beauty. In women who take anabolics, the so-called virilization may occur, which is developing masculine characteristics due to excess male hormones. This effect is particularly visible among the contestants in the women's bodybuilding category who have the biggest muscle mass and likely take the highest doses. The symptoms of androgens being taken by ladies include lowered voice. This effect was researched thoroughly in women who underwent a hormonal therapy for the purpose of sex change. In one of the studies, the average drop in voice tone was around half an octave, although the results varied depending on the individual. I wasn't able to find older recordings of Vladislava for the sake of comparison, but I believe that her voice has maintained its natural feminine sound. Let's think for a moment now how she was able to maintain such beauty despite using doping. First of all, it's about the selection of individual substances. Some of them show less androgynous action than pure testosterone. For that reason, the favorite formulation among ladies is Anavar, although it can also cause a virilization when taken in higher doses. Secondly, Vladislava hasn't been on substances for quite so long, compared to the women who have been into bodybuilding for many years. Just like building muscle mass, physical changes to the face don't occur overnight. Judging by her photos, she had been on a cycle from 2016 to 2018, and then since the pandemic until now. In total, that's around 4 years. Presumably, she didn't take extremely high doses. After all, she did admit herself that it was the reason for changing her trainer. On top of that, when asked whether she would like to compete at the stage of Mr. Olympia, she said it was too much sacrifice, something she wasn't ready for. It seems obvious what she had in mind. What is more, as early as her teenage years, she showed a potential for building muscles, which means that a large role was played by genetics. Although Vladislava has gained a particular popularity, she's not the only woman who can enjoy charming looks with such muscular physique. Also standing out in this field is Jessica Shen, a competitor in the figure category. As for charming ladies who also have a lot of strength, we could mention the power lifter Julia Vins. In a squat, she can lift with a weight of more than 550 pounds, and on a bench, she can press 363. It would be pretty surprising if on the first date it turned out that our partner is stronger than us. So, as we can notice, the presence of masculine characteristics in women on doping is not as common as it may seem. When looking at the top categories in women's bodybuilding, it seems that the change of looks is a result of taking very high doses of anabolics. In ladies, there might also be other side effects, characterized by hypertrophy of intimate parts, which is the exact opposite of men. Let me know in the comments what you think about such muscular physique in ladies.